You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Raise Your Vibration About Alzheimer's, a cutting-edge online event that merges the Alzheimer's topic with healing modalities, tools, and tweaks to help the loved ones to deal with and heal from the emotions and experiences. I'm your host, LeCarl, a devoted daughter dealing with dementia. I am so honored and pleased to welcome Dr. Steve G. Jones, who will be speaking to us today about using hypnosis to relieve stress when a loved one has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Hi, Dr. Steve.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Great. Welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I also thank you for your interest in joining this conversation about Alzheimer's. And as I was just saying to you before we press the record button, I follow you, so I know you're super busy because your work is everywhere.
Well, I'm always glad to take time to help people.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So
Sure.
Dr. Steve G. Jones is a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist who has been practicing hypnotherapy since the 1980s. He is the author of 25 books on such topics as hypnosis, the law of attraction, and weight loss. Steve has also created over 9,000 hypnosis audio recordings and 22 different online certification programs, which are sold in over 140 countries. Dr. Steve has been featured on Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker as both a hypnotherapist and a millionaire. Additionally, Dr. Steve has been interviewed on CNN, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Dr. Steve has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Florida, a master's degree in education from Armstrong Atlantic State University, a specialist degree in education, a doctorate in education at Georgia Southern University, and has studied psychology at Harvard University. Wow. And some testimonials from some pretty heavy hitters here. Steve is the leading authority in the world on hypnosis and easily gives you the help you need to take your life to the next level, and that is from Dr. Joe Vitale, star of The Secret. And I also know him, Dr. Steve, as a Ho'oponopono person because I have also been and continue to be very into that.
Oh,
And
excellent.
second, yes, from Tom Mankiewicz, writer of Superman the movie, if you want to make a positive change in your life, Steve G. Jones can make the difference. He did with me. And those are just two of, I'm sure, unbelievably unlimited amount of testimonials. So thank you for sharing those.
Sure.
Okay, so let's start with the million-dollar question because this is something I'm learning about. So, I'm not up to snuff on this as I am on many of the other topics that I'm showcasing. What is hypnosis?
Well, hypnosis is a relaxed state of mind in which you can change. That's simply put, that's what it is.
I like that. Excellent. And would you like to tell us how you got involved in that?
Sure. I was in military school. My parents sent me to military school, Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Georgia. And I was there in 10th through 12th grades. And in 10th grade, I discovered a book called The Complete Guide to Hypnosis by a PhD psychologist, LeCarl. He's no longer with us. And the book wasn't really complete, but it was a little paperback book which gave some pointers to how to do hypnosis on yourself and others. So I started hypnotizing my roommates in military school. And soon the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently. The athletes came to me wanting to exercise more efficiently. Yep. So all these years later, that was in the early 80s, all these years later, I'm still doing the same thing, except now the smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers.
Wow, that is very, very cool. Incredible. All righty. So, thank you for sharing that. I knew you'd have a fascinating story for us.
Sure.
So now that we get a basic understanding of what hypnosis is and how you got into it, how does it work?
Well, hypnosis works by relaxing you into a state that we call alpha. Now, beta is where we are right now, normal awakening consciousness. We're wide awake, engaged in a conversation. But if we slow down just a little bit, we can be in alpha. Now, alpha happens without us realizing it. When you're driving a car, reading a book, watching TV, taking a shower, vacuuming, when you just wake up, when you're just going to sleep, anytime that you're not really completely aware or completely out of it, anytime you're doing something by rote, such as riding a bike, like I said, or reading a book or watching TV, where you can kind of space out and go on autopilot a little bit, those are examples of being an alpha. Alpha is a relaxed state of mind just below our normal full awakening consciousness of beta. Now, below alpha, we have the deeper states of theta and delta. Those are sleep states, but they're also on the hypnosis scale because there's not a separate scale for sleep. The hypnosis scale and the sleep scale are the same. So people often wonder, well, if I fall asleep during hypnosis, am I still in hypnosis? And yes, you are, because you do not jump to a separate scale. So hypnosis works by getting us into that relaxed state of alpha or lower, and then putting positive suggestions in our mind while we're there.
Wow. Excellent. I love that. Now, I know over the years, and I actually can remember when we were kids and we were at a Cub Scout thing for one of my brothers, and one of my youngest brothers got called up and did the, went with the hypnotherapist with whatever he was having him do or whatever. And it was fascinating. I remember it, many decades later. But I know that sometimes it gets a little bit of a bad rap as well. So I'm hoping that you can maybe dispel some of the common myths or misunderstandings that come up about hypnosis.
Yeah, one of the misunderstandings is that you'll be under the control of the hypnotist and do anything they say, even if it violates your morals. That's not true. You would not do anything under hypnosis that violates your morals any more than you would do in normal awakening consciousness. Another myth is that you might go into a coma. That's not true. If you do fall asleep, as I mentioned, because the sleep scale and the hypnosis scale are the same, you would just wake up after you take a little nap, or when the hypnotherapist tells you to wake up, or if it's a stage hypnosis show, when the stage hypnotist tells you to come out of hypnosis. So those are two of the main concerns, which are actually myths. One, that you'll be under the control of the hypnotist to do anything they say, which is not true. The other is that you might go into a coma, which is also not true.
Got it. Wow. Ooh, yeah, I'm glad that we tackled those. Those are pretty important, definitely. Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. So speaking more specifically in targeting our Alzheimer's community here, how can hypnosis help someone like myself? I'm dealing with Alzheimer's with my mom, and most of our loved ones out here are dealing with it in their families or partnerships or whatever. How can this help?
Well, if you're looking at stress relief and the ability to keep on moving and the ability to persist in the face of seeing a loved one deteriorate and things like that, that can be very, very difficult. I myself, my mother didn't die of Alzheimer's, but she did die of leukemia when I was 6 years old, and my dad died of emphysema in 2004. So, I've seen people deteriorate, and I know how difficult it can be. Hypnosis can offer help in terms of just allowing you to cope. We all have our natural coping mechanisms. Sometimes we resort to things that are not very helpful, alcoholism, drug abuse, habits that are just not very good for us. But we do have the ability as humans to be resilient and to look into ourselves for inner strength. So hypnosis can help by providing that peace of mind, that calmness, that clarity, not just hypnosis by itself, but of course, when you're dealing with that kind of thing, mainstream therapy and group therapy can be extremely helpful, but hypnosis on the individual level can be very helpful in terms of just allowing you to calm down and accept reality.
Wow, those are some key words right there. I know, I can speak from experience that it is tough to accept this reality, no doubt, and yet, it really helps everybody to be in that space of doing just that,
Yes.
Excellent. Clarity. Yeah, these are all so important. The calmness, the clarity. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow. Excellent. And how can hypnosis help reduce stress?
Well, we all have ways that we can productively deal with stress, and we all have ways that we can unproductively deal with stress. Unproductive would be things like smoking or excess drug use, maybe any compulsive behavior such as gambling, turning to the side that's not very beneficial. It'll offer a little bit of stress relief in the moment, but overall does long-term damage. And then we have the ability to do things that relieve stress that are productive, such as pursuing a passion like maybe art or helping people, volunteering or meditating or, writing that movie script we've always thought about, or writing poetry or writing music, anything that's productive and takes our mind off of our immediate situation for a little while, but builds us up inside also. So hypnosis can gear us toward that, away from the negative side of stress relief and toward the positive, productive side of stress relief.
I like that. Thank you so much for explaining that.
Sure.
I appreciate, you gave nice suggestions that nobody else has mentioned as, like you said, great stress relievers, getting your mind onto something else, creating in the process, which is just incredible. Thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
Excellent. So I'm just curious, because like I said, I'm new to using this process myself. How frequently do you need to use it to get good results? How frequently do you need to use it to get optimal results?
Well, if you want to be good with it, if you want to, let's say you have a stress relief hypnosis recording, and you want to listen to it at night, I recommend listening to them at night, at least the ones that I have at night, to allow you to relax. Because remember, the scale of sleep is no different than the scale of hypnosis. So if you fall asleep, it's fine. So let it put you to sleep. Yep. And for optimal results, I recommend 21 nights in a row. And for good results, I recommend just as much as you can. Maybe you only have a few days a week that you can listen to it at night. Maybe you only want to listen to it a few days a week. So a few nights a week would be good. 21 nights in a row, missing maybe 1 or 2 nights because we're all human, that would be the best.
Excellent. Thank you. And, thank you for also mentioning the sleep, because that is another very big issue with the caregivers. I know that this is something that my dad goes through every night, really, is not getting enough sleep, So I appreciate you bringing that into it. And just the fact, like you said, that this sounds like it would help people to fall asleep.
Oh, it's when I talk in a hypnotic tone, it's very relaxing. It's I have trouble, keeping friends awake when I'm talking to them on the phone, because if I if I go into my monotone hypnosis voice, then it becomes very relaxing. So you'll have no challenge getting to sleep.
Got it. Well, that sounds good to me, because I've actually had a sleeping issue for years.
Problem solved.
That's music to my ears, let me tell you.
Oh, good.
More recently it's this topic, but it's been plenty of other ones along the way, or then, any combination thereof,
Yeah, life happens.
Excellent. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.
All right, excellent. So, like I said, I'm not so up on this topic, so I have a feeling I'm probably missing a couple of good points. What else would you like to share?
About hypnosis? Well, it's so helpful in so many things. Here we found an overlap in stress relief and getting sleep. So sleep is something that hypnosis helps with quite a bit. When people have insomnia, there are always practical things that you can and should do. For example, with insomnia, we know that reducing your core body temperature when you're ready to go to sleep helps, because that aids in the production of melatonin. So that is a wonderful thing. Also, not looking at computer screens before you go to sleep, that is good. Making your room as dark as possible, that is good. So these are practical things. And if we look at anything that we want to resolve with hypnosis, there are also the real world practical things that we need to do. We don't just want to rely on hypnosis as the magic wand to cure everything. We want to have it as something that works in addition to whatever else we're doing. So, as I mentioned before, with Alzheimer's, if you can join a support group, you've basically created one here, so that's wonderful. If you can, talk to people about it, talk about the challenges you're facing, find out that these are common challenges in relation to what your loved one is going through. That is wonderful. Sometimes individual talk therapy is helpful. And you combine these things, your support network, your support group, potentially talk therapy, you combine that with hypnotherapy and you get a tremendous result. Also, I'd like to add that hypnosis beyond sleep and stress relief has a lot of other uses: building motivation, building confidence, overcoming fear of public speaking. There are a lot of different topics I work with people on.
Excellent. That's good to know. Exactly. Well, exactly. Like you said, life happens, and this is not the only issue that we're dealing with. I mean, let's face it,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I know I've seen your list. You have the most incredible full service list. Oh my goodness.
That list was, interestingly enough, developed by people writing in and saying, do you have a recording on this? Do you have a recording on that? And we would write back and say, no, we don't, but we will soon. And we put it on the to-do list. And then I spent about a year or two going through that to-do list, and we came up with 235 topics of things that people really needed help with. And we created those after a lot of research and planning. And of course, the recordings took a while. And we just gave the people what they wanted.
Wow. Well, hats off to you. That's incredible.
Thank you.
I know it's true, because you go through the list and some of them are pretty comical,
Oh,
but I say, hey, you know what? People need it.
Yeah, we have. Hey, if somebody writes in about something, and our rule was it has to be more than one person writing in about it, and so we get more than one person writing in, and we will create a recording. So I have one that I recorded that sticks out in my mind, somewhat comical unless you're going through it, which is overcome fear of roaches. Now, I grew up in South Florida, where the roaches, they're actually palmetto bugs. They are, people describe them as the size of small birds. So these are very, very scary to some people. And they're actually everywhere in South Florida. So when you're dealing with that on a day-to-day basis and you're getting freaked out by your own home, overcoming that fear can be very helpful. So what seems kind of entertaining to one person may be highly debilitating to another. So if we had more than one request, we created them.
That's great. Well, my favorite, I have to confess, so far, because I know you'll add to your list, is smelly feet.
Yeah. Now
I appreciated that.
We actually have a hypnosis recording to overcome smelly feet, not to deal with smelly feet, but to overcome it.
Right. That's right.
And you might wonder, how is hypnosis going to help with smelly feet? Well, it's a very practical recording because I'm a very practical person. It basically says things such as change your socks regularly, bathe your feet at night, things like that. Cut down on the perspiration on your feet, because what's happening is the bacterial buildup, of course, so they need to cut down on that. So it's sort of like my overcome bad breath recording. It just says brush your teeth, floss, see the dentist regularly, eat a balanced diet, things like that.
Yep. Yeah, well, I love that one. Having grown up with a brother with the smelly feet, tickles my funny bone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go. You could, if you only had that recording for him when you were kids.
Oh well, you know how brothers can be. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, fascinating stuff. Excellent. All right. So we kind of got off track, but that was a heck of a lot of fun, and I really wanted people to just know the extent of, your repertoire, so to speak. So, but getting back to our topic at hand, anything else that you could think of that, as far as the hypnosis itself is concerned, that would be beneficial? I mean, obviously, they shouldn't be driving when they're doing this.
Right. And all of my recordings say that at the beginning, make sure you're not operating a motor vehicle. You listen to it at night when you're in bed, and and relaxed and so forth. So yeah, never listen to a hypnosis recording while driving. It's so relaxing. You just don't want to take that chance. And we find that 3 weeks of listening to a recording, if you're going to have a change that's going to happen within that time. And it's interesting when you listen to a recording and you use something such as a stress relief recording or a confidence recording or a motivation recording to hypnotically program you to have those attributes. Oftentimes the person listening to it doesn't notice the change. It's sort of like when a child is growing. They may grow over the summer, but they may not notice. They go back to school and everybody says, "Wow, you're so much taller." And they say, "Really? I didn't notice." But because they were in it. They were subjectively exposed to it. But when someone views you objectively who hasn't seen you in a while, they are usually the ones who notice the change. The more stress relief, the more confidence, the more motivation. So it's sort of like that the old hair commercials where someone's like dyeing their hair to hide the gray, and they say there's something different about Bob, but they don't quite know what it is. Well, people are going to notice there's something different about you, and that's how you notice that the hypnosis is working. People say, you're a much more calm person now. And you'll probably think, well, I didn't even realize that. It's just so natural for me. So that's the beauty of hypnosis. The change comes naturally. It doesn't feel like you're forcing yourself or that you're changing the way you are as a person. It's just a natural change that happens.
Wow. And that's a great point because it's true. We don't tend to take our inventory that often and notice, what's going on with us. So, we kind of need somebody to mirror back what they're noticing. So thank you for mentioning that. Excellent.
Sure.
Excellent.
Good.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying good.
Yes. Well, I really appreciate, too, that this couldn't be any easier.
Yeah, it's when you think about, hypnosis compared to long-term talk therapy, 10 years of therapy versus 21 nights of listening to a recording, it doesn't work for everyone. It doesn't work to the same degree for everyone. But you talk about the time and the money savings and the efficiency of it. It's just unbeatable. When it does get the result, it's just, I don't think anything really compares to it. There's no medication involved. There's no traveling to a therapist's office involved. There's just listening for 21 nights in a row. So, I say it's a no-brainer. Why not give it a shot?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I really have tried on this summit and my last summit to, wherever possible, showcase tools and modalities and whatnot that are quick, simple, easy, and so on. And I've showcased a whole lot of them. But like I said, I don't think it gets any easier than this. You plunk it in, you go to bed, you're good,
Yeah, it almost sounds too simple. It's kind of like when you listen to Warren Buffett for investment advice. He says, put 90% of your money in an index fund, and you think, oh, aren't I supposed to pick all these other stocks? No, you put 90% of your money in an index fund and you just keep adding to it. It sounds too simple to be true, but we're talking about advice from, I believe he's the third richest man in the world, Warren Buffett. It's the same type advice. It's simple because the best things in life usually are very simple and very straightforward.
It's true. We humans do tend to muck it up and make it confusing and whatever else,
Yeah, because our lives get confusing and we think, wow, I have such a confusing, stressful life. The answer's got to be confusing and stressful also. But the answer is very, very simple.
Yeah. And I agree. And here you are with decades of experience. So, you know that this to be true over and over and over again on a regular basis. So.
Oh, yeah. I get to see the results all the time, and I'm glad to be a facilitator of it. I'm just the messenger, really. I'm just sharing with them what I've been trained to do. But just seeing the results has been, that's where the proof is. They say the proof is in the pudding, as Dr. Phil might say. Sounds like a Dr. Phil type thing, but it's true. And all the theory is fine, but when you see it day after day, then like I do, that it actually works.
Excellent. Well, that's really, really, really fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. Wow. Now, you have an incredible free gift for us also, so please talk about that.
It's a platinum level stress recording. And these recordings took about 2 years to develop. Again, we were working on 235 topics, but we also had 2 college graduate sound engineers, Pro Tools software, which is the software they use in making movies, and we had a handmade microphone from Australia, and we just had everything done right. I built a recording studio from the ground up, so we did everything right. It took me about $120,000 of my own money to produce these.
That sounds like a high price tag right there.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people make hypnosis recordings and, bless their hearts and whatever. But, some people just get a microphone for $10 from, Radio Shack, if that's even still around. And that's how they do it. No, we didn't do it like that. We did it the right way. These are high quality recordings that are an hour long. They have binaural tones, brain entrainment. They have a lot of different hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming techniques, and they're just really, really done the right way. So I think people will enjoy them. And this particular recording is designed for stress relief, so it's what we're talking about here. It's getting you in touch with your passion, getting you to accept the realities of life, whatever they may be for you, and getting you to continue to move forward.
Excellent. Oh, yeah, that couldn't be more perfect. No doubt about that. Wow. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, anything else that we might have missed?
Well, I always like to leave people with this idea, which is a song by the musical group America. And it goes like this: Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And what that means is, of course, a reference to the Wizard of Oz, who was giving out different tokens to different characters. And it wasn't anything they didn't already have. If he's giving out courage and so forth, it's not anything that they didn't already have. So hypnosis is the same way. I'm not giving you in my recording, when you listen to my voice and allow it to relax you and allow it to change you to a more relaxed person, I'm not giving you anything you don't already have. I'm just bringing out what's already inside you. I'm bringing out that beautiful, wonderful you that's been inside you all along.
It's true. It does get covered over, doesn't it?
It does. Like we said, life happens and it gets covered over. We want to bring it back out.
Wow. Well said. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Lori. Thank you.
Wow. Well, I'm flabbergasted, really, with all the great stuff that you shared. And, too, like you were saying, as far as the recording you're offering, it helps people to get in touch with their passions, because this will help to get them through too, because we forget some of that as we go when we do the day-to-day things. And, what a wonderful thing. Like you have the great ideas of writing poetry or this or that or whatever. There's so many levels of help and support in doing those kinds of things, So you do that in conjunction with this hypnosis. And, wow, that's just mind-boggling. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It's always an honor to help people get their lives back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a person of service too, so I appreciate being served, and I appreciate being the one giving the service. So,
absolutely.
And that's a generous free gift. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thank you, listeners. I'm so glad you tuned in. I know that you're going to be a hypnosis fan like I am after all that you've heard today, and enjoy the free download, that generous gift from Dr. Steve, and take care of yourself. That's the bottom line. Take care of yourself. And hypnosis, as Dr. Steve said, it's a no-brainer. It doesn't get any easier than this. And you help your sleep and other parts of your life as well. So all the best to you. Thank you. Also, you can reach me at info@raiseyourvibrationaboutalzheimers.com. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Lori.
You are listening to an interview with clinical hypnotherapist Dr. Steve G. Jones. For a free hypnosis download, please visit stevegjones.com.